Well, hello again there, boys and girls. Let's go ahead and hop on in. Alright, well, we're going to be still working on the super late model here, so we've got about 30 minutes or so, more like 40, before the race goes at 9:15. Right now it's 8:35, so we're going to get going here. Now, what we're going to do, first of all, is we're kind of working on a set somewhat like what we were doing. What's up, Steve? Brad? Somewhat what we were doing kind of in the late models. And again, we're still working on this, and it may be a thing, it may not be a thing. Differences, so far the tracks we've been to have had some banking to them. This track does not. Lanier is relatively flat. So first things first, we are going to hop out of here, and we're going to take a look at the setups. Now you see all-time optimal and everything. We haven't put a lap down yet, so I'll try to give you guys a good kind of idea of what we've got. But first of all, we're not going to run the qualifying set. What we want is we're going to go to my sets. We're not going to save any changes with that. We're going to go, all right, what's more similar? Five Flags, Southern National. I'm going to say that Five Flags is probably the more similar track. But let's start with that. So we'll stay here. All right, we're going to be done. Now, what I want to see first and foremost is what's our track temperature? 77, all right, which is very similar to what we had set for Five Flags. So overall, Five Flags I think is probably going to be a little bit tight, I'm going to say. Well, who knows, but we got to get a baseline on this thing. One thing I did need to...
Yeah, you suck, Rogers. Get out of here. You're terrible. We pay you millions of dollars.
All right, we're going to bump the fuel up to... We're going to go to 11. We're still kind of getting the sense of what we got to do in terms of fuel. In terms of ratio and everything, we're going to leave that alone for right now and just see where we stand. All right. I will say, man, the super late model, the window is so tiny. You can't see anything. We're gonna stay down here. Actually, I don't think you have to here. No, you don't. Alright. So first and foremost, we're gonna have to shorten up this gear here, and yep, it's tight. So you can already tell. But Lanier, you just gotta be right on that yellow line. But first and foremost, we need to make this gear change because one, even with just a gear change, the car's gonna turn better. The higher the RPM you can keep. So let's do that first, and then we'll move on from there. What's up? Yeah, set stealing intensifies. Alright, so let's go to the gear. I think at Southern National we ran a 470. It's going to be probably closer to that. But we're at a 426 right now. Let's put a 70 in it and see what it feels like. Southern National is fast because it's got the banking. This track's longer, but it's flatter, so I think it's going to be a little bit slower. So we'll see. But look, we're a mere 6/10 off the pace, and we haven't even done anything. Again, it's just within this session here, but again, I mean, it's going to get better and better. I mean, we'll see where we get to. I think that's probably going to be pretty close in terms of gear. Oh yeah, turns way better with that gear in it.
Battery low.
Don't you give me that.
Charging battery.
Again, we're just kind of driving around. I'm trying to just see where we need to be in line and what this car is wanting to do. Basically where we need to be picking up throttle.
Car up 5. Car stopped up 5. Go low, go low.
So he got up off the bottom there. But again, I'm not really great at flat tracks, I'll be honest with you guys. Right now it feels a little bit loose up off the corner. Can't really commit to that throttle. But we don't want to, honestly, I don't want to change too much because the thing that I've noticed is our set seems to hold together pretty darn good on a long run compared to some of the other people. So even just the gear change, taking the 5 flags set over here, we're only about 2/10 off, which isn't a lot. It's pretty good. Never had Whataburger. Oh. Yeah, I have never had Whataburger either, but what the heck is going on here? Excuse me 1 second here, because we have that tied up there.
Battery low.
Yeah, I heard you. There we go. Okay.
Charging battery.
All right. Still on the big screen. Life is good. Hell yeah. Yeah, she does. And I mean, I would too if I wasn't about to have my life force drained out, you know? So let's take a look at what we've got. So again, we're running the same thing we had at 5 flags. It's doing basically the same thing we did at 5 flags. We got a big old frame drop right there. Goodness gracious. Well, one thing we got to do is do this. Okay, there we go. That should help a little. So a lot of it, and we're kind of trying to figure out what kind of steps we want to take. Right now we've got the ballast all the way forward from this setup like we had in the other one. So we've put down laps with this set. I don't think that this whole setup is necessarily the way we need to go, but I'm going to leave this one as it is, and I'm going to save as, let's see here. It's just going to be Lanier. Lanier V1. Alright, so we don't lose that. Now let's go to my setups, and we're going to pull out the Southern National set that's going to be... I want to pull out the one for 88. Now you notice the big difference here. We still have the ballast all the way forward in this one. Let's try this other one. 85. So we've got no ballast in this one. This is the one that we raced. I want to try this one, and I want to see what this set. Yeah, wants none of her sass. Yeah. Alright, so I want to try this one. We're to 477. I'm going to leave that gear in it, because I don't think we were hitting red line. And realistically, we want to be there because we're going to slow down over a run. What's going on? Some people have really long YouTube names, and you can't just be like, "What's up, U.S. Motorsports Network?" But Chris Carroll's in here. He's already faster than we are. Whoa, it's way tighter. But it gets through the center better. And I have a feeling that this set's going to be a little bit loose for what we want, just because it's designed to turn a bit better. Which is all well and good. See, I mean, the big thing is we just can't commit to the throttle. It's just too loose on throttle. So I think what we'll probably do is we'll probably take some stagger out. See what I mean? Let's see what it is in kind of comparison here. Yeah, it's too loose is the summation here. Part of what we can do is we can kind of change how we drive it. If it's going to get loose and turn up off the corner, we can get back to the gas a little bit sooner and just run it out a little bit wider. Which honestly, we're running it pretty shallow right now. And honestly, we could still probably put a little bit more gear in it. See, a set like this where it's already loose in like lap 2 or 3, it's only going to get worse here. We want this thing to build a little bit loose. Yeah, more gear is definitely going to make it loose off, but we're going to have to compensate for that. So what we can do is a couple things. We can either lower the cross weight, we can take some stagger out of it, we can play around with the track bar. Right now I got the track bar set all the way to the top, and the reason we have it set to the top right now is basically, let's see the notes here. Movable mounts on the chassis, higher mounts, tighter on corner entry, looser on corner exit. So right now we've got that totally maxed out, okay? So if we move these down a bit, we'll see where we stand. And we haven't looked at our replay yet to see how bad we're scraping. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how bad, more than anything. But the other thing is, you look at our brake bias right now, it's 44. This car just doesn't necessarily turn on its own, which is something I'd like to get figured out. I really would. 5.4 on the gear. Oof. The Alabama gang shows up. Just want to make sure that these are all still maxed. Yeah, see, that's too high. Won't let us do that. But we're still going with these super soft springs in the front, which may be the way to go, it may not be the way to go. So we've made that change right there. We still got 12 gallons in it. And yeah, let's see. So let's go out and just see what that track bar adjustment did. And realistically, it should tighten the car up a little bit. My concern is it's going to do more in terms of tightening the car up overall, rather than just on throttle. The other thing too is we do have a full fuel load in it right now. So, I mean, it's going to be loose with full fuel. We know that. It's a little bit tighter through center. I'm going to be honest with you, it feels about the same. Trying to get more aggressive with it, but ain't doing nothing. Alright, so we're gonna go back. Hangover. I have a hangover. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to go back. I want to put that back to where we had it. Actually, no, I don't. I want to leave that right there. What I want to do is I want to try and take a bunch of stagger out and see what that does. It's gonna play with the ride heights just a touch. You can see we came up a little bit on the left side because we got some weight shift, but that's really it. So that's a fair amount of stagger out. Let's see what that feels like. Yeah, that's a good question. Do different countries have different hangover cures? I'm sure that they do. Say where I'm from, it starts the night before. You eat a garbage plate. So you go out drinking, eat a garbage plate when you go home. Or before you go home. You eat half of it, stick the other half in the fridge, and then you eat the other half in the morning. Oh, it's so good. See, we're a little bit tight now, but that's okay. Alright, see, now that's a good driving. That feels much, much better. You can already feel it starting to loosen up just a little bit, just even after a couple laps. But we're not that much slower than we were, and the car is way more stable, way more predictable. And I think our gear is probably right. We could potentially move it up a click, but that was more me than the car, but yeah. Again, just seeing kind of what we can and can't do here. It wouldn't be us if we didn't kiss the wall already.
Car inside.
And that's what we don't want. We don't want to be squirrely loose up off every corner. I think that stagger is probably an adjustment for the good for the long run.
Slow car down low, go high. Slow car down low. Car stop down low.
Ooh.
Go high.
That was my fault. Getting a little excited with it. Water during the drinking phase. Yeah, but that's boring. Try changing the gear. We've changed the gear a couple times. I mean, we can add a little bit more gear to it, but... Alright, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to save this as... 78. Alright, so that's that, and we've got kind of a good, you know, base-ish. So, let's go back to... What do we have? It was... Why did we do that? Saved it as the wrong thing. Save as... Thrill as Aaron types in VR. Alright, so right now V2 is our, it's going to be a race set, you know, basically for all intents and purposes. Now what can we do to just kind of play around with this thing? Yes, Steamer. Besides Beer Chaser. Favorite Australian? Marcus Ambrose, I'm going to guess. Anyway, let's go, and I want to watch us just for a couple laps. And I want to just see kind of what the car looks like here. Alright, fine. Let me get to the thing that actually works. So we're not scraping at all. It might have scraped there for just a second.
What's going on, Chris?
I had everybody muted. We're idiots. Ambrose is a knob jockey.
You know, try not to crash my super late model.
Alright, so our ride heights look fine. Now the one thing that we did have to do with how much banking that we had at the other tracks is we had to cram a whole mess of Packers into this thing. What I'd like to do is, and this is what I'm looking at, so if we take the shims out in the left front, it doesn't make any ride height difference. If we take the shims out in the right front, it makes a slight difference. Not a lot, so we're good. What it looked like before was that if we were adding shims, it was actually adding ride height to it. So if we go up, see it's adding ride height.
Nice
Basically indicating that this thing's already sitting down on the Packer. It's already sitting down. We've got no suspension travel in the front. And that's my concern with this low spring set and the low shock set. We could add a little bit in the shock rate, and it'll help carry that a little bit more.
Terry, how you doing?
But if we, let's see what happens when we just bump these up a little bit. It doesn't do anything. It should just be a spring, so adding shock spring, if it was sitting down on the shocks and on the Packers, it would be adding ride height because we're adding spring rate since the spring's not making contact. That would indicate that it isn't sitting on the Packers. But if we add a bunch of Packers, it raises the ride height, and that's what I don't understand. So we had this at 2.5 before. I want to take a couple out. Let's see what that does. We already took some out of the other side. I just feel like a lot of our problems are in the front end right now. That's just what it feels like to me. Jason Belmonte is my favorite Australian currently. Huh.
I don't know.
Alright, so Chris Carroll's sitting at the tip of the bird. And again, we'll qualify with whatever. I mean, if it hasn't been shown to this point, so much of this race is determined. It is determined partly by where you qualify, because being in front of a whole bunch of people makes a huge difference. But you know, I think it's been proven that the races are long enough and the cautions are, you know, fruitful enough that if the car drives well, you'll get in and you'll be all right. You'll get to the front.
There's a 7 in there.
So even taking that little bit of Packer out, the car feels way better on brakes.
The 6, you can get it to rotate.
Low car up high. Low car up high. Go low. Low car up high.
Alright, so we've broken into the 12s. There is that.
Car outside. Hold your line. Still there.
He's up off the bottom.
Still there. Clear outside.
Alright, so the car could pass. I mean, it's not crippled. $10 pin. Forgot about that. What's your gear? We're at a 470 right now. We could put more in it if we wanted to. But anyway, I like that change. So we're going to save as, boom, yeah. I like that change a lot. That actually felt pretty darn good. And what do you do when it feels good? Let's do a little bit more. But first what we ought to do is we ought to just take a look at our last couple laps. See if we're scraping at all. And we're not. So let's do this. Let's take a little bit more out. Let's take another 1/4 inch out. Get no ride height change, and that's good. He pulls two-handed. So we got positive toe on this thing. So more front toe out should give us a little bit better turn in, you know, which is what we're looking for. If we go to the tires and we look at the stagger, the other thing that we could do for it, more front stagger is more understeer during braking and all that noise. So the less stagger we have in the front, the more it's going to turn. But let's just leave that spring, that little Packer adjustment, and see what she does now. Hearing bolts like he drives. You know, my dad, old Buck Racer dad, he's a pretty good bowler. Sorry about that. He's pretty darn good. So he's I don't think he's ever bowled a 300, but I mean, when he's in like league play and he's got the rust knocked off, I mean I can't remember what his average is, but I mean it's in the twos for sure. I mean it's like I don't want to stick words in his mouth, but I want to say it's up above 220, 250. He's a good bowler.
Car down low. Car stop down low. Go high. Car stop to 5.
Overall, the car feels pretty good. I mean, it's still getting a little bit loose, which is kind of what you need on a flat track. I mean, it's just not going to be like stuck like on a bank track.
Slow car down low.
The important thing is that the guys that we're coming up on, we are gaining on them.
Slow car down low. Slow car up 5. Slow car down low. Slow car up 5.
93,
Car outside.
going somewhere.
Slow car up 5. Slow car down low.
I mean, it feels pretty good. I mean, it feels stable. I mean, that's really kind of what we're looking right now. Yeah. How much time we got? All right, it's 15 minutes beforehand, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to back out of here, and we're going to make note. Our temperatures right now, track temp's 81, so it's crept up a little bit. So the times won't be as fast as what we could have done earlier. But yeah, I think that we're close. We're not, and this is race pace, so I mean, we could stick tape on this thing and maybe go a little bit quicker, which is what we're going to work on here next. But to do that, here's what we got to do. So first of all, we've got to register for the other session. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to back out of here. All right. But first I'm going to go to the garage and save this because I like it. And then we will load into the next session. And then we'll get to the race. So I hadn't registered for the race yet. So that's the only bummer about doing these practices beforehand. Now I know some people say that you can just go onto the web page and you can withdraw from that practice and you can register for the race and it'll pull you over. I mean, let me know if that's what you guys do. I mean, I just haven't had any luck doing that. It seems to not want to pull me over to the next session. I've had that happen, which is very, very frustrating. If you put all this practice in, you're like, where's is this race going to actually start or not or what? But my guess is we're going to get into this next practice and it will be warmer. Any bets? Right now we've only got 8 registered, it looks like. So I can't remember what the split is on C series. I want to say it's 20 for this series. I want to say that it's 20. It might be a little bit lower. It might be 16. Thanks, Robert. We're going to need it. Yeah, we got 15 minutes. Well, 12 minutes now. All right, so we got 9 registered here. Let's take a look. It is even cooler. Okay. So let's take the same set that we've got out here and see what it does. I'm interested. So they're running 5s around here right now, just with 8 degrees of difference from where we were. And granted, we're in the race set right now, and what we're going to do is put a couple laps and just see how this feels at a cooler temperature, just so we know when we get into a race session if that's okay, or if we want to loosen it up a little, or what. But typically with a cooler track, car's going to be a little bit tighter. And it is. But there's more grip, so you can actually get a little bit more out of it if you're not overdriving it into the center of the corner. I think that's probably a good race set for that temperature. It's not super fast, but I mean, we could add a click of stagger to it, and it would probably be right. So, okay, so amazing. All right, but what we need to do right now is we need to craft a qualifying setup. So what we're gonna do, as far as just baseline fixes, you're gonna change always full tape, minimum fuel, and then see what everything looks like. So the cross weight, actually, if we add this back to 12, we can see what it was. So 58.7 versus a 59.3. That's a pretty significant change. You know, I mean, it's not a whole percentage point, but in terms of tightening the car up, that's what it's going to do. So what we'll do to counteract that, since we're cooler temperatures and we've tightened the car up anyway, we're going to add a little bit of stagger to it. We got no fuel. And I'm going to knock... I always want to drop a pound on the left front. I always want to. I just want to. But I think that we're going to probably leave it like that. Got negative bar clearance just by nothing, barely. So I'm fine with that. Basically what that means, the anti-roll bar, you know, if they're not linked up, it's just got no pressure on it as the car's sitting here static. Icing is the hardest roll for me to grasp. I'm so out of loop with hockey. Do they still not have a red line? Is it just blue lines? I can't even remember now. Oh yeah. Got none of that fuel to hold it down.
Low car down low. Low car down low.
So we picked up like a half a tenth. That's not enough. So let's try and do something different. So let's go back to the garage and let's put the stagger back where it was. And what I want to do, instead of loosening it up off the corner, well, no. Here's what we'll do. Put the stagger back where we just had it. Okay, and what we'll do is basically, let's raise up the right side of this. To try and help with turning this thing in. I feel like there's a lot more we can do here. Preload's about the same. No offset, none of that. Let's go and try that. Yeah. what we'll do is we're going to save this as a qualifying setup. So we've got two. We've got a race set and we've got a qualifying set. But ultimately, we're struggling to find a couple tenths. You know, that's what we need. We need to find those tenths. Now, we ran with Daniel, I think it was last week at Southern National, and he was on point. So I have no reason to doubt that his time's probably where we need to be aiming. Okay, that was good. It was a little bit tight off for qualifying anyway. But let's see, how much fuel are we gonna run? Come on, Scotty. We're gonna end up running probably just what we've been running, which is 12. So that way, if it goes green, we know we can make it. I don't know realistically what our minimum fuel should be, but yeah, it should be something along those lines. So anyway, we want to loosen this car up just a touch up off the corner. So what we're gonna do, we added the stagger and that actually tightened it up coming up off the corner. So to counteract that, we're gonna add just a click more of rear stagger. We got Scott Lamb behind us here. We're getting there. So you got the 16, he's on a long run right now. That's fairly clear. So anyway, what do we end up putting down? 687. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So anyway, we're gonna go to the garage. Right now this is just saved as V2 night. So we're gonna go save as V2 Q night. Alright, now here's a question. Could we take this qualifying setup, since it seems to have picked up some speed, can we take this set and can we turn this set into a race set? We all like the SLM. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I miss this car. I mean, I wish all the tricks and stuff still worked with it, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers. So we're going to put this stagger to 1. We had it at 875 with the other one, but adding a click in the front, we'll add a click in the rear because the front tightened it up a little bit. And the track bar change we made tightened it up a little bit. So let's take this and see what it does. Last time Aaron ran the SLM, he moved a guy. Well, honestly, I looked at that replay, and it was kind of a send from me. I mean, we had ran around behind him. We were definitely faster than he was. But every time we got a run to try and drive up on him off of the bottom, he was basically really just taking his time on the bottom, so we couldn't time that run off, which is great strategy. And eventually I got frustrated enough that that finally I just decided that we were just going to put it in there. To be honest, this car feels really comfortable right now. I mean, it may be something where it's just got a little bit too much in it. We might have to tone it down a little. Might have a little bit too much turn. But so far, I mean, at every super late model track that we've gone to, I think the first week we had a couple guys that just ran away. I mean, they crushed us. But if you look at what we're running now, I mean, we're running in 8s and stuff. You know, just with this set that we've got in it right now. We actually run the proper line anyway. I'm really just trying to take it easy on the tires and just see what this thing will do on a longer run. And one thing that I do, and I don't know if anybody else does this, but sometimes I'll actually like not run the actual racing line or run like a lane inside just to see what it feels like in this car to try and pass somebody. You know, so if we've got to drive it in real deep and then stop it and get it turned and then hold it down up off the corner, you know, what does it feel like? Is it something where running lower on the track actually upsets the car? Just to try and give it a good kind of all-around feel, you know? We don't want it to be aces in the racing line, and when we get out of it, we just can't control the car.
Go high. Car up high. Car stopped up high.
Everybody's
Go
stopping.
Low, go low.
People disconnecting. You know what that usually means. Race time inbound. Yeah, I do that. I don't know if that's a thing that everybody else does, but I know that I do that. The race is ready and qualifying will start in 50 seconds. Well, yeah, we should probably jump over. How do we adjust for the fuel weight? So the less nose weight, like more nose weight is going to make the car feel tighter, okay, typically. So if you have more weight in the rear and you figure a gallon of gas weighs about 8 pounds or 7 pounds, I think it is. If you figure that's the case, you add, 10 gallons of gas, that's 70 pounds, over the rear axle. Helps with traction. It also gets the car looser. So 6.6 pounds. All right, I was close. I said 7. I was close. All right, big bucks, no whammies. All right, so we are the 3 car. Max Cookson, Jason Hughes, us, Scott Lamp 2, Brian Zimmerman, Daniel Pope, Will DeVricky, he was tops in practice, Cody Brinson, Justin Evans, Colton Geist, Steve Oldiff, and Brian Kralacki. All right, cool. So I think Zimmy's got his own setups that he's working with right now, and we're just kind of feeling out what works. But we got to check our track temps. 87. Of course it would be way hotter than what we practiced. Okay. This thing's going to be out of control. Like this. Alright, so to try and compensate for this, what are we going to do? We're going to take some stagger out, kind of all around. And overall, I want to try and bring this number up just a touch. So 58.7. We'll hit apply there. Of course, we're not going to get to go out there and run race pace. Damn it. Yeah, it's going to be slick. It really will be. It will be. All right. So, those are the changes we made for this. Still don't think that's going to be enough, personally. But, yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and do this. Let's save this. And let's just save this right now as 87. Not 787. That would be very, very hot. And I'm pretty sure they would probably cancel the race. So let's go to my setups, and I want to look at what we just did, which was this V2 night, and we saved over it. If we take this one and we put full tape on it, and again, this is the race set, so it's a little bit tighter than the other set. If we take this one and pull all the fuel out of it, since it's a little bit tighter, talk about a handful. Yeah, it's hot. If we take this a little bit tighter setup, and we'll do a couple little things here and there. And I want to see what kind of times they're running. 894 in this temp. I don't know, man. What do you think we can put down? Do you think we can break into 12s? Do you think we're going to be like 13? I think we're going to be right with Zimmy. I think we're going to be right at 13.1. But who knows? Talk about a handful. You're not giving me a lot of confidence here. I mean, 87 is hot enough that we might even run 25% tape just to be safe.
Green flag, green flag. Here comes the first time lap.
And we really neutered this car. We could have easily run it looser than this. But maybe with a little bit of temperature in the tire, we'll get some good bite on lap 2. $156? No, we didn't out qualify Brian. We set this thing up a little bit too tight, honestly. Or you could feel it was gonna come around, but just didn't. If it was 3-lap qualifying, I think we would have probably gone faster. Yeah, guys are blowing up Monday night with 50. That's kind of what I figured. But, I mean, in the other sessions we had, we were at 77 and 74, so that's why I put 50 on it. So, anyways, let's go to my setups. We're not going to save any changes. We're going to go with kind of what I thought, which is going to be this one. It's 11. We're going to drop this down to 25. Running less tape is actually going to tighten the car up a little bit. Not a lot, but a little. In 59 too. I think that we're going to have to be loose to get around here. And we did make the stagger adjustment, so I don't know. We'll see. It might be a little bit something. See, Lanier is really, really tough. You just can't even pit here. I mean, I think you can take 2 and not go a lap down, but that's it. So, group with Max, he qualified 3/10 faster. So are we. It's like Scott doesn't realize we're in the same session. Yeah, so we qualified near the back. So Lamp put down a 135. So you got all the 851 guys. Boom, 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 right in the line. So 894 is pretty damn fast. But if we've learned one thing, are we putting bets on when Zimmy gets wrecked? No, we're not putting bets on when Zimmy gets wrecked. Come on now, have a little bit of faith. Just a little bit. Yeah, Steve's right. I mean, trying making the set. So that was all good until we got caught with 87-degree temperatures, and all we'd practiced at was 77 and 74. Lap 2. I bet lap 2 crashed. Yeah, and Colton is way off the pace. He's over a second off the pace. from the pole here. So hopefully Colton can get it reeled in. Justin, Brian, Colton, and Steve did not qualify. So I'll see y'all at the end. 0x challenge. Yeah, right. Good luck. I don't think we've run a 0x super late race.
Line up on the outside. Pit road is closed.
I don't think. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn the fuel off. And this is good for tracks like this where you're not going to get a chance to make a lot of stuff. So we're going to go over to tires. Do the tires. And we're going to turn off the left sides. We just want rights if we come. And spring offset, I can never remember. I think going down. Yeah, so if we do, we're going to go down around. We'll leave it right there. We just need to be prepared to do that. So we got Zimmy to our left. Clowns to the left of me. Jokers to the right. Here I am. That one dude already scraping the ground? Or is that just I think it's just backfire heat for seeing out of his tailpipe. You can see it from the back of the car, which is disturbing.
1 lap till we go green.
Yeah, time to get those passing points. Yeah, we'll see. So the 16 I know was relatively aggressive. Wasn't happy with us the last race, but he ended up the last time we ran with him. But he got over it. I think he finished second.
Get ready. Going green.
Third, I can't remember.
Pace cars in. Green flag. Green flag. Car inside. Still there. Hold your line.
So you gotta have this car set up a little bit loose to run the high line, and I think
there.
we might be there.
Come on.
Clear. Outside.
Yeah, that car looks pretty loose. That's exactly what we didn't want. We're closing in on these guys just a little bit. Not a lot, but a little. You just tap the wall here a little bit, just because that's what we do. That was close. So I can follow Scotty around here. tough road to plow down here.
Outside. Hold your line. Keep low. Stay low. Keep low. You're in fifth. Clear. Car outside. Clear outside.
Oh, big wiggle. Big wiggle from P3. So he's got to just be impatient. I mean, that guy's knocked the wall down about 3 times now, so.
Car outside. Still there. Stay low. You're in fourth. Keep low. Clear outside.
Alright, we got lap traffic already. Honestly, it's a little bit later than I thought it would be. But we do have Will right on our butt here, so we can't make any mistakes.
Easy, easy, easy.
Scotty gets her a little loose.
Car outside. Clear. Car outside.
Scotty about lost it right
Still
there.
there. Clear. Outside. Clear outside.
Don't run me over, Scotty.
You're in third.
Alright, 3.2 up to P2 here. We better keep our eyes on the road, I guess. Close down a little bit on him. And he lengthen it back out. Alright, I think we just need to be patient with this car and just let it do what it's going to do. We don't need to push it.
Outside. Hold your line. Clear outside.
But overall, I mean, the car feels good. I mean, it's definitely loose. You knew it would be. So it was funny, the guy that I'm like, yeah, we're posting some people. That would be Steve. Or at least he got the same paint scheme as everybody else did.
Outside.
So we're kind of maintaining the gap
Okay, we're
between
halfway
us
finished.
and the
Clear.
6 car. Which to me is encouraging. We are narrowing that gap. Really just trying to keep the rear tires in touch. We're only halfway through here. But no yellow. So we're starting to put a little distance on Will. Just a little. Not a lot.
Car outside. Clear.
Overall, I mean, it just feels like we're skating around a little bit. I mean, a lot of it's just the heat in the track versus what we had set the car up for. Seems to be, and it's again proving itself. It's just better on. But I mean, overall, I think that a longer run. I think these other guys are using some stuff up that we don't know what they're using. You can see we've chewed about a second out of the lead that Daniel had. I don't know, maybe he's pacing himself, maybe he isn't, who knows?
Confirmed.
But Will's coming with us. Corners like that won't help.
Low car down low.
Oh no! You're gonna get a yellow? Oh no, somebody's pitting. Okay.
Car outside. Still there. Still there. Clear.
Got it down to 2, but I think we're gonna run out of time more than anything. I mean, honestly, something like this makes me wonder if everybody's just running higher tire pressures than we are. Like, if you look, I mean, we're not even getting full throttle here at some places, just depending on how we're coming up off the corner. We got 18 to go, and it's just kind of stable right now at 2 seconds. Try diamonding these corners a little bit since we're just having such trouble getting back to the throttle. Oh, don't do that. Don't wreck right now.
Car outside. Keep low. Still there. Clear.
Oh, hold on to it, Steve.
10 to go. 10 to go. Outside. Clear.
10 to go, and it's still kind of the same gap. I mean, we've shaved a couple tenths off, but it's just not enough. Too little, too late. But if this lap car thinks that we're going to pull over for him, we're not.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Oh.
Line up single file. Pit road
Wow,
closed.
okay.
Get stop pick. Car.
What's our fuel looking like? Still got
I
4 in
probably
the,
should have tightened this car up.
Get stop
still
pick.
got 4 in the
Car.
tank. So for future reference, we can probably run 8.
Pit road is now open.
Well, we're not coming, because it's only going to be like 1
Come on,
lap.
catch up.
Car 5. Got the lucky dog. Let them past on the outside. 5 laps to go.
We'll do what these guys do. I mean, we've got 2 checked, so we can do it. Yeah, I don't think so. However, if I'm Brian, well, no, Brian can't do it either.
That guy, I just lost it racing for last.
The good news is we'll be on the inside. Hooray. If we start again, which honestly we might get 1 lap. Which here, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Yeah. Carroll, he was in practice, but yeah, I guess he's not in here. I didn't even think about that.
Pit road is closed.
Two to green. Gonna get a one lapper. Alright. So we just want to make sure that we got some kind of understanding of what's going to happen here. Oh yeah, she'll want to come loose. We'll
One
see.
lap to green. Line up on the inside. 2 laps to go.
Fortunately, Zimmy's going to be at the tail end of the longest line here, so.
Get ready. Going green.
You can almost just short shift this thing to third.
White flag. 1 more lap to go. Green's out. Green flag. Green flag. Pace car is in. Outside. Still there. Still there.
Aaron, why did you slack on the restart, man?
There's the flag. It's
I
over.
didn't. That was just plain old wheel spin.
Great job, driver.
I was hoping I could come out my number.
With 370
Thank you,
laps completed. And
Dang,
the
what gear you
enthusiastic
running? You
race
got wheel
fans,
spin?
as they always are here.
Yeah, starting in second.
No, you're running the 4th gear set, aren't you?
Yep. I know a lot of people aren't, it seems like.
Yeah, I only go up to 3rd.
Old late model boy, or modified boy. Well, how'd you do, Zim? I mean, I think, what did you get, 5th? Brian got 6th. Oh, Zimmy got 6th, okay. Well, what can you say? I mean, it's a good run, and I mean, it is what it is. It's just we're not competing. You know what I mean? We're not that competitive yet when it comes to running these guys down. It's just the set's okay. And honestly, it was just a little too loose for what we
Video
did.
game, just to make the viewers mad.
Yeah, I mean, I threw a few yellow adjustments at it to just try and tighten it up a little. But it was a good long run car. I mean, we're closing in on second. Yeah.
Yeah, 10-4. I was tight in the other session that we were in, and then I come in here thinking it would be fine. No, it actually felt good for about until I got clear of all the cars. Got you to the front, and then I got loose, and that allowed you to get underneath me.
He did. I mean, he had a moment. Let's see if we can find it.
No,
I'm
but
gonna
you had a
guess
good
it's
car.
about
You could have got up
30.
there.
No, he said we're already past him here. So watch this big old wiggle that he makes. Ugh. We didn't want to use the lap car as a pick. That's number one. And I kept him and I went for it. Eh. Oh! Us and Will, we had, I mean, I would say like a battle, but I mean, Will got loose up in front of Lamp, and Lamp got under him, we got under him, and they let us by, and then we really just ran consistent laps with him. So if you take a look at us and him, and we'll take a look, where's the leader? All right, so that's second place, that's the leader, all the way in the backstretch. So he's over there. Well, let's reset us here. So we're running about the same laps as he is. Starts to pull away a little bit. We're gaining on second though, and you see him, he's starting to pull it now. Yeah, and he'd have laps that were just way better than us. But you can see us starting to reel in P2 here. And then I think right there, yeah, that was the caution. But unfortunately, I mean, this track is tough. I mean, there's no way around it. But we'll watch that last restart as well. Watch us run out of talent here on the restart. Don't worry about it, Steve. I mean, the track's tough. I mean, it's, you know, I blame myself. I don't have a great set to hand you guys, and I know I wanted wanted to run this the other night, and we ended up helping Yost instead. We should have just started in third, is what we should have done. We're just grabbing gear, grabbing gear, grabbing gear. Poor Jimmy barely made it out of the pits. Yeah, it's definitely a long run set. Expect to be back there. Oh man. Yeah, so it was Lamp. Yeah, it was Lamp, Zimmy, Steve, and myself. So, but anyway, I'll post this up on the Discord. I would recommend tightening this car up a little bit if you're going to run it at 87 degrees. It's an aggressive set for 87. I'll put it that way for car control. But again, if you're wanting to run it or if you're thinking about it, please look at our telemetry in the bottom left corner at some of those laps. We're not full throttling this thing in no way, shape, or form. And I think that's part of why people run that 3-gear setup versus the 4. And we could play around with that. And I think that we might. I mean, it might be faster. I think the 4-gear set probably cuts better through the center. Just because the gear is a little bit more narrow, if that makes sense. You know, the more RPM you're pulling when you're turning, the easier the car's going to turn. The lower RPM, it's not nearly the same. But third gear is way better. I don't disagree. Honestly, I like third gear setups myself, and I know when we were doing these before, when we were using Missile Mike setups, a lot of his were third gear setups. So. Again, you can play around with that gearing. I can't remember, but you can go back in the video. Somebody in the chat had mentioned the gear that they were actually running. So you could take a look at that and see exactly what they were running. But anyway, let's take a look at the finishing results, and we'll see how we did in terms of iRating and safety rating. I'm going to say that we passed the 0x challenge throwed down in here. He was working on the Southern National set until I switched. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I can bite you sometimes.
Boy, those are some ringtail snorters right behind this group as they go side by side here. I'm going to tell you. Those are what? Ringtail snorters, every one of them.
Every one of them. Thanks, Fine Fox. Appreciate it. So anyway, strength of field is going to be a 32.22. Not bad for what we've got. And again, we didn't run podium tonight because they canceled the race. So I don't know if it's canceled, like we're not going to run Martinsville, or if it's postponed or what. But they said canceled, so I don't know. But anyway, split-wise, the race did split. How many cars are in the other split? Do we know anybody in the other split? Not really. But that strength of field, oh lord, 1083. So they had 3 cautions. Fast lap time was at 13.4. Yeah, that's a rough split. 615, 920, 623. Finished P2. Ooh, gained 112. Anyway, so our split rather. So we finished third. We gained 33 in iRating. That puts us up over 48. That's a lot. 0x, pay me. And then we got 0.09 in terms of safety rating. So it puts us up at a 454. We'll take it because we'll throw it away at some point. But yeah, always. That's exactly 100 more than me. So yeah, 4708 for Scotty Lamp. Zimmy loses a little bit, 4670. Jason loses some, 4903. Yeah, I know Colton was having trouble with the set, but he still gained iRating, finishing 9th in the 10 car out of 12. Again, you just never know. A lot of it's just the differential. So a 3164 versus a 17. He's almost double, his iRating. So either way, it's more good stuff, more things in the right direction. And the more we run this car, the more we learn. So we'll keep doing this. I will post the setup in the Discord so you guys have it. I'd probably call this a good 84 degree to 82 degree setup in terms of long race run. Overall, the first couple laps were a little bit tight. I will not post a qualifying set. I think that you probably ought to do that. I'm going to leave this, though, as it is. I'm going to leave it as a 4-gear set. Again, those things, if you want to change them, change it down to a 3-gear set by moving the gear ratio around. Basically, just lengthen it out. I think it's like a 7 something he was saying he was running, or like a 570. So you can do that. And again, just work on those adjustments and things. And I think that we've still got a little bit too much fuel in these cars, and that's going to help us with some overall speed anyway. And it'll also help that kind of consistently loose off issue that we're having. So, but anyways, I really appreciate all you watching. 420 third gear. Okay. Yeah, I said 570. I meant the other way around. I think I meant 370. But okay. All right. Well, thank you guys again so much for watching. And until the next time, guys, take care.